Pray. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of all our hearts be acceptable to you, O Lord, our rock and our Redeemer. Amen. Now, if you're arguing over who Jesus is, then you've never met him. Some of Jesus' disciples, despite meeting him, didn't even know who he was. Jesus must have overheard the disciples bickering over who he was when he asked, "Who do people say that I am?" Then Jesus stopped them short with his next question, "Who do you say that I am?" Now, naming someone isn't as easy as you think. A recent British survey revealed that picking a baby name is the most common fight among expectant parents. And almost 75% of first-time parents bicker over what to name the baby. I read a story about a couple conflict over naming their first child. And the young couple was expecting their first child, and the expectant dad was 25 and the expectant mom was 23. And they did the ultrasound to discover that the baby was a boy. The couple decided to make a list of potential baby names. Now, all was going well until the mom-to-be suggested a name from a movie she watched as a teen. And it was an odd name, but she really liked it. And the name was Moon, spelled M-U-N-E. I didn't see the movie, so I don't know how to pronounce that name. Maybe it is Muni, rhymes with immune, or perhaps money, like money, or could be Mooney, like in Mooney. However it is pronounced, the dad-to-be reacted. He argued that the name would guarantee that the child would be teased and bullied. Now, after some back and forth arguing, the young couple agreed not to add Moon to the list of potential baby names. But a few months later, at the baby shower, after all the gifts were opened, the expectant mother's mother gave her baby shower gift to her daughter. And you know this could be trouble, right? It was a beautiful blue handmade blanket. The expectant dad thought it looked great until he noticed a name hand-stitched on the blanket, Moon. Oh, he was angry, but he didn't want to make a scene at the baby shower, so he bit his tongue. And friends and family at the baby shower started talking about the name as if the name was settled. And as you can imagine, the drive home from the baby shower was rough. The dad confronted his partner about the name on the blanket, and it was obvious that mother and daughter had made an executive decision without him. In his hurt and frustration, the dad said some dumb things, saying, "If you like the name so much, you can get a dog and name it Mooney." Now she started crying and called her mother to come and get her. Now the disciples are in a similar naming dilemma. They're hearing from competing authorities who are weighing in on who Jesus is. Some are the religious scholars calling Jesus a heretic. Now, other religious scholars are calling Jesus the second coming of Elijah. The political scholars working with King Herod are calling Jesus John the Baptist resurrected. and friends down at the coffee shop are calling Jesus just another prophet, which were a dime a dozen back then. So which authority are the disciples to believe? It might seem easier for a new dad to veto a mother or mother-in-law's baby name choice than for the disciples to make a convincing argument against their culture's authorities. Who wants to get booted out of their faith community, or political party, or favorite coffee shop for not agreeing? When Jesus asks, "But who do you say that I am?" he invites his disciples to shift their focus. Before you can name Jesus, you need to know Jesus. We all meet Jesus through others. A grandparent or a parent who took us to church, where a minister or Sunday school teacher told us who Jesus is. And like the disciples, we can be fooled into thinking that hearing about Jesus is equal to knowing Jesus. And Jesus' question, "Who do you say that I am?" forces us to consider the question, do I know Jesus directly or indirectly? You may only know God indirectly by reading what others have to say about him, by hearing from others who have experienced God. But is that enough to avoid mistaken identity? I heard a story about two twin brothers. The one brother asked the other, "I want to take my girlfriend to a nice restaurant. Do you have any suggestions?" Well, the other brother recommended a wonderful Greek restaurant that he and his wife went to often. The food is great, and the staff treat you like family, and we love it there. So the brother took his girlfriend to the restaurant, and the food was great. The atmosphere was romantic, but the service was terrible. The servers were cold and unfriendly. At one point, they thought they were outright rude to the brother and his girlfriend. So while the couple were finishing their meal and wondering what to tip and if they were going to tip the staff, they heard a burst of laughter come from the restaurant entrance. Suddenly, their server came to the table, all friendly and smiling for the first time that evening. And that's when the couple noticed his twin brother and wife walking up behind the server. The restaurant staff mistook the man for his twin brother. Suddenly, their cold and unfriendly behavior made sense. The staff thought the brother was cheating on his wife with a strange woman, and they were angry and disgusted. Everyone laughed as the server apologized, and the twins' wife and girlfriend both insisted that the tip be twice as big as usual. As Jesus asked, "Who do you say I am?" what will our answer be? And Peter was no longer confused about who Jesus was. The people who mistook Jesus for a pretend prophet, they were understandably angry at how he was conducting himself. The politicians who mistook Jesus as John the Baptist's successor, they were understandably worried that he was a potential political threat. But Peter knew Jesus directly, and that was enough to see Jesus as Messiah. So instead of worrying about what to do with Jesus, how to influence him, how to control him, how to get something from Jesus, Peter could worry instead about his own actions. His focus instead on being open to Jesus' influence and be prepared to give something to Jesus. Who do you say that Jesus is? Before you answer that question, open your heart to a relationship with this person you've heard so much about. Amen.